No, you are my wife!
Alicia twisted her arm, but Marcus's grip only tightened. His fingers dug into her skin hard enough to bruise. She'd have 5 perfect marks by morning, just like always. We need to talk. His voice was calm, which made it worse. When Marcus was calm, he was dangerous. You can't just ignore my calls, baby. That's not how marriage works. We're divorced. She tried to pull away again. Failed again. You need to leave me alone. They were outside the Sheila Hotel, where crystal chandeliers and glittered through floor-to-ceiling windows, and doormen in pristine uniforms pretended not to notice a man manhandling a woman on the sidewalk. Seoul had been supposed to be her fresh start. 6 months of peace, of breathing, of sleeping without fear. Marcus had found her 3 days ago. Divorced? He laughed, that soft chuckle that used to charm her, back when she was young and stupid. A piece of paper doesn't change what we are. You belong to me, Alicia. You always have. I belong to myself. His other hand came up to her face, almost gentle, almost loving. Don't make me remind you what happens when you talk back. The hotel doors opened. A group of men emerged in expensive suits, surrounded by others in black. Bodyguards, she realized. The man in the center moved like violence wrapped in silk, tall, dark-haired, with a face that could have been carved from marble. Empty eyes swept across the scene with bored disinterest. Alicia didn't think. She just moved. She wrenched free from Marcus's grip, stumbled forward, and grabbed the stranger's lapels. His jacket was softer than anything she'd ever touched. For one heartbeat, those dead eyes locked on hers. Surprised, calculating, cold. Then she kissed him. The world stopped. She felt the stranger go completely still beneath her lips. Around them, men reached for weapons. Marcus shouted something, but all she could focus on was the kiss. Desperate and graceless and absolutely insane. When she pulled back, the stranger's expression hadn't changed. He studied her like she was a puzzle, or maybe a bug. One hand came up, and his fingers traced his own lips, as if checking for evidence. Well, he said softly. His voice was like smoke. That's new. His men surrounded them now, hands inside jackets. One of them, a beautiful woman with a severe ponytail, looked ready to shoot Alicia on the spot. I'm sorry, Alicia gasped. I'm so sorry, my ex-husband, he won't leave me alone, and I thought, you thought kissing a stranger would help? The man's head tilted slightly. Interesting strategy. Marcus had gone pale. He was staring at the stranger like he'd seen a ghost. I didn't know she was... I wouldn't have what? The stranger's tone didn't change, but something in the air shifted, became heavier. Touched what belongs to me? She's my wife, Marcus said, but he was backing away. Was. The stranger glanced at Alicia again, expression unreadable. Now she's something else entirely. He turned to his men and spoke in rapid Korean. Alicia caught maybe 1 word in 5. Her language skills were still limited to ordering food and asking for directions. But the tone was clear enough. Orders being given, decisions being made about her fate. The beautiful woman with the ponytail stepped forward and gripped Alicia's arm. Not violently, but firmly. Come with me. Wait. Alicia looked back at Marcus, who stood frozen on the sidewalk. I didn't mean to... This was a mistake. Yes, the stranger agreed. It was. He walked toward a black Mercedes, and his men parted like water. Just before getting in, he paused. But you made it. Now, you'll live with the consequences. The car door closed. The woman, Jisoo, someone called her, guided Alicia toward a second vehicle. Please, Alicia whispered. I don't understand what's happening. Jisoo's smile was sharp as a knife. You just kissed the serpent. In our world, that means something. She opened the car door. It means you're his now, whether you like it or not. Alicia looked back one last time. Marcus was gone, disappeared into Seoul's glittering night, and she was being driven away by beautiful, dangerous strangers who spoke of belonging and consequences. The kiss had been meant to save her. She was beginning to think it might have damned her instead. A welcome to Seoul Afro Stories. If you're new here, You just walked into the most dangerous love story Seoul has ever seen. Hit that subscribe button right now because Alicia's about to make choices that'll have you screaming at your screen. Quick question. Would you kiss a dangerous stranger to escape your abusive ex? Or would you handle it differently? Be honest. And tell me, what time did you start watching this? I want to know if you're team watching at 2 a.m. like it's crack, or team lunch break drama. Episode 2 drops soon, and trust me, things are about to get messy. Don't miss it. The car smelled like leather and something else, something expensive that Alicia couldn't name. Jisoo sat beside her, silent and still, while a driver navigated Seoul's nighttime traffic with practiced ease. Where are we going? Alicia's voice came out smaller than she intended. Gangnam. Jisoo didn't look at her. The boss's estate. The boss? You mean the man Kang Minho, though most people call him the serpent. Jisoo's lips curved slightly. You really didn't know who he was? I just got here 6 months ago. I work at a convenience store and a coffee shop. I don't exactly run in... Alicia gestured vaguely at the luxury surrounding them. Whatever circles this is. That kiss. Jisoo finally turned to face her. Was it really just impulse? My ex-husband was hurting me. I saw someone powerful and I just reacted. Stupid. But there was something almost like curiosity in Jisoo's eyes. Or brave. I haven't decided which. The car turned into a gated driveway. Security cameras tracked their progress. The estate beyond was massive. Traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern security, surrounded by high walls and guards who moved with military precision. Listen carefully, Jisoo said as they pulled up to the main entrance. In Kang Minho's world, public gestures mean something. That kiss? In front of his men, his rivals' spies, everyone? You claimed him, or he claimed you. Either way, you're marked now. Marked? Protected. Owned. Depends on his mood. Jisoo opened the car door. My advice? Be useful, be quiet, and pray he gets bored of you quickly. The main house was stunning. All dark wood and paper screens, with artwork that probably cost more than Alicia would make in 10 years. Men in black suits stood at intervals, watching her with flat professional eyes. They led her through corridors to a sitting room where Kang Minho waited. He'd removed his jacket and loosened his tie. A glass of whiskey sat untouched on the table beside him. Sip. He didn't look up from the documents he was reading. Alicia sat on the edge of a chair across from him. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Name. Alicia James. African? Yes. Well, I got deported from the United States and... Why? She swallowed. My ex-husband. He sabotaged my visa renewal. I think he wanted to control where I could go, but I'd already filed for divorce, so I came here instead. My grandmother was Korean, so I qualified for I don't need your life story. Minho finally looked up. In the soft lighting, his face was almost beautiful, almost human. Your ex-husband, Marcus Chen, American businessman, minor player in import-export, currently in Seoul on a tourist visa that expires in 3 days. Alicia's mouth fell open. How do you? I know everything that happens in my city. He set down the documents. Marcus has been staying at a love motel in Itaewon. He's been following you for 72 hours. Today was the 4th time he approached you in public. You've been watching me? I've been watching him. You just happened to be there. Minho stood and walked to the window. Now you've made yourself my problem. I didn't mean to, but you did. He turned, and something in his expression made her breath catch. In my world, that kiss was a declaration. My enemies saw it. My allies saw it. They'll assume you're important to me. But I'm not. No, he agreed. You're not. But they don't know that. Which means keeping you alive just became necessary for my reputation. Footsteps approached from the hallway. A man's voice called out in Korean, young and warm. The door slid open. The man who entered was younger than Minho, mid-20s maybe, with kind eyes and an easy smile. He wore a designer suit, but somehow made it look casual. When he saw Alicia, he stopped short. Hyung, who... He switched to English, his accent American educated. Sorry, I didn't know you had a guest. This is Alicia, Minho said. She'll be staying with us temporarily. The younger man's eyes widened. This is the woman from outside the hotel? The one who... He caught himself, glanced at Minho, then back to Alicia. His smile returned, gentler now. I'm Kang Jiho, Minho's younger brother. He crossed the room and offered his hand. Alicia shook it, grateful for the simple human courtesy. You're African? Jiho asked. Yes, but my grandmother was originally from California. Stanford, class of 2019, Jiho said proudly. Business school. You? I didn't finish college, got married instead. The words tasted bitter. Jiho's expression softened with understanding. The man from tonight? My ex-husband. Well, you're safe here. Jiho shot his brother a look. Right, Hyung? Minho's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. She stays until I decide what to do with her. Do with me? Alicia stood up. I'm not a thing you get to decide about. I appreciate the help tonight, but I should just go home. You don't have a home, Minho said. You have a one-room apartment in Hongdae with a broken lock. Your landlord is 2 months behind on building maintenance. You walk 40 minutes to work because you can't afford the subway most days. The casual invasion of her privacy should have terrified her. Instead, it made her angry. So what? I'm poor, therefore I'm yours? Something flickered in Minho's eyes. Amusement, maybe, or respect. You're vulnerable. Your ex-husband is dangerous. And you involved me. Those 3 facts mean you stay here until the situation is resolved. How very generous, Alicia snapped. Jiho laughed. Actually laughed. I like her, Hyung. Minho's expression didn't change, but he looked at his brother for a long moment. Show her to the guest wing. Make sure she has everything she needs. Of course. Jiho gestured for Alicia to follow. Come on, the rooms are really nice and the cook makes amazing breakfast. As they left, Alicia glanced back. Minho had returned to his documents, dismissing her as easily as he dismissed everything else. But she caught him touching his lips again, just once, like he could still feel the kiss. Jiho led her through corridors that smelled like jasmine and expensive wood polish. He kept up a steady stream of conversation, pointing out rooms and explaining the house rules with the ease of someone giving a campus tour. So basically, don't go into the East Wing. That's Hyung's private quarters. The gym is on the 2nd floor. You're welcome to use it anytime. Kitchen is always open, though cook gets territorial if you try to actually cook anything yourself. He grinned. Trust me, I've tried. This is insane, Alicia muttered. I should be at work right now. My shift starts in an hour. Already taken care of. Someone called both your jobs, said you had a family emergency. She stopped walking. You can't just... We can, actually. Jiho's smile faded slightly. Look, I know this is overwhelming, but my brother's right about one thing. Your ex-husband is dangerous. The kiss made you visible. And visible means vulnerable. I was already vulnerable. I've been vulnerable for 6 months. But now you're our responsibility. He resumed walking. Here we are. The guest room was larger than her entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked a garden lit by paper lanterns. The bed was massive, covered in silk that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Bathrooms through there, closets there. If you need anything, there's a phone by the bed. Just press 0 for the kitchen, 1 for security, 2 for me. Jiho paused at the door. For what it's worth, I'm sorry about all this. My brother can be intense. Is he always like that? Like what? Cold, calculating, like he's playing chess with people's lives. Jiho's expression turned complicated. He hasn't always been this way. Our parents died when I was 15. Minho was 18, still in college. He had to build this empire from scratch to protect us, protect their legacy. He looked away. You have to turn something off inside yourself to survive that. He turned off everything. That's sad. It's survival. Jiho met her eyes. Just be careful around him, okay? He doesn't feel things the way normal people do. And what he can't feel, he doesn't understand. After Jiho left, Alicia explored the room. Someone had already brought her things from her apartment. Her clothes, hanging in the massive closet, looked pathetic and worn next to the empty space. She found toiletries in the bathroom, expensive brands she'd only ever seen in magazine ads. She sat on the edge of the bed and tried to process everything. 12 hours ago, she'd been serving coffee to businessmen and counting her tips. Now, she was living in a mansion owned by a gangster she'd kissed on impulse. Her phone buzzed. 17 missed calls from Marcus. She blocked the number and threw the phone across the room. Sleep didn't come easily. Every sound made her jump. Footsteps in the hallway, doors opening and closing, and the rustle of wind through the garden. Around 3 a.m., she gave up and wandered into the hallway. The house was quiet but not empty. She could feel the presence of guards, cameras, eyes watching from the shadows. She found her way to the kitchen, guided by dim emergency lighting. Someone was already there. Minho sat at a marble counter, a laptop open in front of him, and another glass of whiskey in his hand. He looked up when she entered, unsurprised. "Can't sleep?" he asked. "I'm used to sirens and traffic. It's too quiet here." "Help yourself to anything." He gestured vaguely at the refrigerator. "Cook leaves leftovers." Alicia found milk and honey, made herself warm milk the way her grandmother used to. The silence stretched between them, not quite comfortable, but not hostile either. "Why did you really bring me here?" she asked finally. Minho closed his laptop. "I told you. The kiss made you visible. You could have just scared Marcus away. You didn't need to bring me home with you." "Home." He repeated the word like it was foreign. "Is that what you think this is? What else would you call it? A fortress, a prison, a monument to everything I've had to become." He stood, walked to the window. "But never a home." Alicia joined him. The garden below was beautiful even in darkness, meticulously maintained and completely sterile. "You were at that hotel for a business meeting," she said. "I saw rivals there, didn't I? You mentioned witnesses. The Jade Clan, they control the southern territories. We've been negotiating a truce for 6 months." His reflection in the glass was perfectly controlled. "Your little display in front of them complicated things." "How?" "They'll see it as weakness, sentiment, something they can exploit." He turned to face her. "So I need to decide quickly. Are you an asset or a liability?" "I'm a person. In my world, those are the same thing." She should have been afraid. Any sane person would be. But standing this close to him, seeing the exhaustion in his eyes, the careful way he held himself, she felt something else. Curiosity. Maybe even pity. "The kiss," she said. "Did it feel like anything to you?" Minho studied her for a long moment. "No. Nothing at all?" "Surprise, maybe. Confusion." He paused. "Why did you choose me?" "There were other men leaving that hotel. Safer men. You looked like you could kill someone without blinking." "I can." "I know. I needed that. Just for a moment, I needed to be connected to someone Marcus would fear." She laughed bitterly. "Stupid, right?" "Effective." Minho moved past her toward the door. "Get some sleep, Alicia. Tomorrow, Jiho will teach you how to survive here." "And what will you do?" He paused in the doorway. "Figure out what to do with you." After he left, Alicia finished her milk. Through the window, she watched his silhouette cross the garden toward the east wing. Even alone, he moved like a predator. Controlled, efficient, dangerous. She touched her own lips, remembering the kiss. He'd said he felt nothing. But she'd felt his surprise. The momentary loss of control before his walls slammed back into place. Maybe he didn't feel things the way normal people did, but he felt something. She just had to figure out what. Morning came with breakfast delivered to her room. More food than she could eat in a week, presented on dishes that probably cost more than her security deposit. Alicia picked at toast and fruit, watching the garden wake up through her window. Jiho appeared at 9, looking annoyingly well-rested in another perfect suit. "Ready for your first day?" he asked cheerfully. "My first day of what, exactly?" "Being protected. It's harder than it looks." He gestured for her to follow. "First rule, you don't. Leave the compound without security. Second rule, If you do leave, you tell me or my brother first. Third rule? How many rules are there? Honestly, I'm making them up as we go. Hyung doesn't usually keep people here. They descended the main staircase. You're special. I'm inconvenient. That too. Jiho led her outside to the garden. In daylight, it was even more beautiful. Cherry trees, stone pathways, a koi pond that probably cost more than a car. But I think you're more than that. I've never seen my brother look surprised before last night. They spent the morning walking the grounds. Jiho pointed out security cameras, explained the guard rotations, showed her the panic buttons hidden throughout the estate. He made it feel normal, casual, like he was explaining a quirky office policy rather than how to survive in a crime lord's home. So what exactly does your brother do? Alicia asked as they sat by the koi pond. Officially? Import-export, real estate, several legitimate businesses. I handle most of that side. Jiho tossed food to the fish. Unofficially, do you really want to know? I kissed him. I should probably understand who he is. He controls most of the underground operations in Seoul. Protection, information, occasionally moving things that can't be moved through legal channels. Jiho's voice was matter-of-fact. He doesn't deal drugs, doesn't traffic people. Those are his lines. But everything else? Fair game. And you're okay with that? I'm his brother. I don't have to be okay with it. I just have to love him. Jiho looked at her. He's not a good man, Alicia. But he's not pure evil either. He's just broken in ways that can't be fixed. They were interrupted by Jisoo, who appeared like a ghost at the edge of the garden. The boss wants to see her, she said coldly. Jiho stood. I'll come with just her. Alicia followed Jisoo through the house to Minho's study. The room was all dark wood and leather, lined with books in Korean, English, and Chinese. Minho sat behind a desk that looked antique and priceless. Sit, he said, without looking up from his laptop. Alicia sat. Jisoo took a position by the door, arms crossed. I've made a decision, Minho continued. You'll stay here for 2 weeks. In that time, I'll have Marcus Chen removed from Seoul and ensure he doesn't return. Removed how? Does it matter? Yes. Minho finally looked at her. Legal channels. A warning. If he's smart, he'll take it. If he's not, he shrugged. Then the consequences are his own. And after 2 weeks, you go back to your life. We'll set you up somewhere safer, provide enough money to stabilize your situation. In exchange, you forget this ever happened. It was generous. More than generous. She should have been grateful. What if I don't want to forget? Something dangerous flickered in Minho's eyes. Excuse me? You said the kiss marked me, made me visible. 2 weeks won't change that. Will it? Your enemies will still know my face. A valid point. Minho leaned back in his chair. What are you proposing? I don't know yet, but sending me back to my old life feels like putting a target on my back. Clever. He almost smiled. You're trying to extend your protection. I'm trying to stay alive. They stared at each other across the desk. Jisoo shifted uncomfortably by the door. You'll work for it, Minho said finally. Jiho needs an assistant for the legitimate businesses. You'll help him, learn Korean, make yourself useful. In exchange, you stay under my protection. For how long? Until I decide you're no longer needed, or no longer wanted. It was a trap, Alicia knew. The longer she stayed, the deeper she'd get pulled into this world. But going back to her one-room apartment, looking over her shoulder every day, waiting for Marcus to appear, that was a different kind of trap. Deal, she said. Good. Minho returned to his laptop. Jisoo will set. You up with appropriate clothes and identification. You start Monday. It's Wednesday. Then you have 5 days to learn basic Korean and office protocol. He dismissed her with a wave. Don't waste them. Outside the study, Jisoo grabbed Alicia's arm. Her grip was iron. A word of advice, she hissed. Whatever you think you're doing, stop. You're not special. You're not different. You're just another distraction. And distractions don't last long in this house. I'm not trying to be special. No? Jisoo's laugh was bitter. Then why are you still here? You could have said no. You could have taken his original offer and run, but you're staying. And that makes you either very stupid or very ambitious. Maybe I'm just trying to survive. Survival doesn't look like you looking at him the way you do. Jisoo leaned closer. I've been with Kang Minho for 5 years. I've saved his life, killed for him, built everything he has. And he's never looked at me twice. You think one desperate kiss changes that? Alicia pulled her arm free. I don't want anything from him. Liar. But Jisoo's expression shifted to something almost like pity. He's going to destroy you, not because he wants to, because it's all he knows how to do. And when he's done, you'll be just another casualty. She walked away, leaving Alicia alone in the hallway. Through the study door, she could hear Minho on the phone, speaking rapid Korean. His voice never changed tone, never betrayed emotion. Like a machine processing data. Jisoo was probably right. This was a terrible idea. But Alicia had spent 3 years making terrible decisions. What was one more? That night, she found Jiho in the library, surrounded by financial reports. I need to learn Korean, she said. Fast. He looked up surprised. Hyung told you about the job? He told me I need to be useful. Okay. Jiho closed his laptop. First lesson starts now. And Alicia, I'm glad you're staying. This house could use someone who still remembers how to be human. She spent the next 5 days buried in language apps, flashcards, and patient lessons from Jiho. He was a natural teacher, making jokes to help her remember words, acting out scenarios to practice phrases. By Sunday, she could hold basic conversations and read simple documents. She saw Minho only in passing, glimpses of him leaving for meetings, returning late at night, always surrounded by his men. He never acknowledged her directly, but she felt his awareness like weight on her skin. On Sunday evening, she found courage she didn't know she had and knocked on his study door. Come in, he called. She entered to find him reviewing what looked like building schematics. He barely glanced up. I start tomorrow, she said. I wanted to say thank you. For what? The job, the protection, not killing my ex-husband. Yep. Minho set down his pen. Is there a point to this conversation? I just wanted you to know I'll work hard. I won't be a liability. We'll see. He studied her for a moment. You look different. She'd let Jisoo take her shopping. Had reluctantly accepted clothes that actually fit. Had her hair cut by someone who knew what they were doing. It was subtle, but transformative. I'm trying to fit in, she said. Don't. The word caught her off guard. What? Fit in. Everyone here is the same. Hard, cold, useful. You're different. He returned to his schematics. Stay that way. It's why you're still alive. It wasn't quite a compliment, but from Kang Minho, it might have been the closest thing to one. Alicia left before she could say something stupid. But as she walked back to her room, she couldn't help but smile. He'd noticed her hair. It was progress. Monday morning arrived with a knock on Alicia's door at 7 a.m. She opened it to find Jiho holding 2 cups of coffee. Ready for your first day? He handed her a cup. Don't worry, I'm a much better boss than my brother. That's a low bar. They had breakfast in the main dining room, a formal affair with staff serving food on china that probably belonged in a museum. Minho was already there, reading a newspaper while eating precisely cut fruit. Morning, Hyung? Jiho said cheerfully. Minho grunted without looking up. He's not a morning person, Jiho whispered to Alicia. Or an afternoon person. Or really any kind of person before 10 a.m. I can hear you, Minho said flatly. I know. I'm building rapport with my new assistant through humor. Try building it through competence instead. But there was the faintest suggestion of amusement in Minho's voice. Alicia was learning to read his micro-expressions, the tiny tells that betrayed emotion beneath the ice. After breakfast, Jiho took her to an office building in Gangnam, sleek glass and steel, nothing like the traditional estate. The business was called Kong Industries, and according to the directory, they did everything from property management to import consulting. This is the legitimate side, Jiho explained as they rode the elevator to the top floor. Completely legal, completely boring, and completely necessary for washing. I mean, managing our finances. You were going to say laundering. I was going to say managing. His grin was unrepentant. Your job is actually simple. Answer phones, organize my calendar, translate English documents, sit in on meetings, and look professional. Think you can handle that? I manage 2 jobs while being stalked by my ex-husband. I can handle scheduling. The office was beautiful. Modern furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul, artwork that managed to be expensive without being ostentatious. Jiho's assistant desk was positioned just outside his main office, with a computer already set up with her credentials. Password is Serpent 123, Jiho said. Yes, I know it's not secure. No, my brother doesn't know about it. Yes. It would annoy him if he found out. You're trying to annoy him? I'm trying to remind him he's human. There's a difference. The morning passed in a blur of phone calls, emails, and introductions to staff. Everyone was polite, professional, and clearly aware that Alicia was living at the estate. She could feel their curiosity, their calculations about who she was and what she meant to the Kang brothers. During lunch, Jiho took her to a nearby restaurant. Expensive, but not flashy. The kind of place where business deals happened over perfectly grilled meat. So, he said, as they waited for their order, what do you think so far? It's surreal. A week ago, I was making minimum wage. Now, I'm working in a penthouse office for a crime family. We prefer diversified business interests. Jiho's smile faded slightly. But yeah, it's a lot. How are you really doing? Honestly, I keep waiting for something terrible to happen. For Marcus to show up? Or for your brother to decide I'm not worth the trouble? Or, hey. Jiho reached across the table, squeezed her hand. You're safe here, I promise. His hand was warm, his grip gentle but firm. It was the first time in months anyone had touched her with kindness instead of possession. Alicia felt tears prick her eyes. Sorry, she said, pulling away. I'm not usually this emotional. You're processing trauma. It's normal. Jiho's expression was so genuinely concerned that it made her chest ache. If you ever need to talk, I'm here, not as your boss, as a friend. We barely know each other. So, I'm a fast friend maker. It's one of my many charms. They were interrupted by Jiho's phone buzzing. He glanced at it, and his expression changed. Less casual, more focused. Hyung needs me back at the estate. Something's come up. He stood, threw money on the table. You okay to finish lunch and head back to the office? I'll send a car for you at 5. Of course. Is everything okay? Define okay. He was already heading for the door. Just stay inside the office until the car arrives, all right? Don't go wandering around. After he left, Alicia finished eating alone. The food was delicious, but she'd lost her appetite. The way Jiho's expression had changed, the urgency in his movements, something was wrong. She returned to the office and tried to focus on work, but every phone call made her jump. Every notification made her heart race. At 4:30, Jisoo appeared in the doorway. Change of plan, she said. You're coming with me. Jiho said to wait for... Plans changed. Jisoo's tone left no room for argument. Now. They drove in tense silence back to the estate. Guards were everywhere, more than usual, moving with military precision. Jisoo led her not to the main house, but to a building she hadn't seen before, concrete and steel, built like a bunker. Inside, Minho stood over a man tied to a chair. The man was bleeding, breathing hard, terrified. 2 of Minho's men flanked him. Alicia stopped in the doorway. What is this? Recognition. Minho didn't turn around. Come here. She didn't want to. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but she forced herself forward until she stood beside Minho. The man in the chair looked up at her. His face was bruised, one eye swollen shut, but she recognized him anyway. That's... Her voice cracked. That's one of Marcus's friends. David. We had dinner with him last year in Los Angeles. He's been following you for Marcus, Minho said. Taking photos, reporting your movements, looking for weaknesses in our security. He pulled out his phone, showed her images of herself, walking to work, shopping at a convenience store, sitting in a cafe. Dozens of photos taken over weeks. Your ex-husband is building a case, a dossier. Alicia felt sick. Building it for what? For leverage, for kidnapping, for whatever sick obsession is driving him. Minho finally looked at her. I told you he was dangerous. Did you believe me? She couldn't look away from David, who was crying now, begging. What are you going to do to him? That depends. Do you want him alive or dead? The question was so casual it took her breath away. What? He helped Marcus stalk you, terrorize you, invade your privacy. Minho's voice was perfectly calm. In my world, that deserves death. But you're not from my world. So I'm asking, what do you want? Alicia looked at David. He'd been at her wedding, had toasted her happiness, had probably known the whole time what Marcus was really like and said nothing. I want him gone, she whispered, out of soul, away from me, but I don't want him dead. Soft, Jisoo muttered from the doorway. Practical, Minho corrected. Killing him sends Marcus a message, but also escalates. Destroying him sends a better one. He nodded to his men. Break both his hands. Put him on a plane to Los Angeles. Tell him if he ever looks at another photograph of Alicia, I'll find him and finish this. The men moved immediately. David screamed. Alicia turned away, but Minho caught her chin, forced her to watch. This is what protection costs, he said quietly. This is what happens to people who threaten what's mine. You wanted to stay in my world? Then you see it all. She watched them break David's hands with methodical efficiency. Watched him sobbing, begging, broken. And she felt nothing but a cold kind of satisfaction. Maybe Minho was right. Maybe she was changing already. When it was over, Jisoo escorted David out. Minho dismissed his men, leaving him alone with Alicia in the concrete room. You handled that well, he said. I feel like I should throw up. But you didn't. You stood there, made a choice, and owned it. He studied her. You're stronger than you think. Or more broken. In my experience, they're the same thing. He moved toward the door. Go back to the house. Rest. Tomorrow, you'll go back to the office and pretend this never happened. Minho? She caught his arm. He froze at the contact. Thank you for asking me, for not just deciding. Don't thank me. He pulled away from her touch like it burned. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because your ex-husband is testing my boundaries. This is about power, not protection. He left her standing in that cold concrete room, surrounded by David's blood. But she'd felt him flinch when she touched him, felt the momentary crack in his control. He could lie about his motivations all he wanted. She'd seen the truth. That night, Alicia couldn't sleep again. She found herself wandering the halls, drawn to the light coming from under Minho's study door. She knocked. It's open. And he was at his desk again, always working, never resting. His shirt sleeves were rolled up, revealing forearms marked with scars she hadn't noticed before. Can't sleep? He asked without looking up. Keeps happening here. You'll adjust. She sat in the chair across from him without being invited. Why did you let me choose? About David? You already asked me that. You gave me a political answer. I want the real one. Minho set down his pen, finally meeting her eyes. Because I wanted to see if you could. Could what? Make a hard choice. Own the consequences. Most people who end up in my world crack immediately. They either become monsters or victims, nothing in between. He leaned back. I wanted to see which one you'd become. And? You became neither. You stayed yourself, just sharper. Something that might have been respect flickered across his face. It's rare. Is that why you're really keeping me here? Because I'm rare? I'm keeping you here because you kissed me in front of the Jade clan, and they're watching to see how I handle it. Everything else is secondary. But the way he said it felt like a lie. Alicia stood, moved around the desk. Minho tracked her movement with predator eyes. What are you doing? He asked, testing something. She touched his shoulder, just her fingers, light as air. He went absolutely still. You flinched when I touched you earlier, she said. Like it hurt. It did. Why? Because people don't touch me unless they're trying to hurt me or fuck me. There's no in between. His jaw was tight. And I don't know what you're trying to do. Neither do I. But she didn't move her hand. When was the last time someone touched you like this? Gently. He thought about it. My mother, before she died. That was almost 10 years ago. Approximately. Alicia moved her hand to his face, cupped his jaw. He allowed it, but every muscle in his body was tense, ready to strike or flee. What do you feel right now? She whispered. Confusion, suspicion, and something I can't identify. His eyes were dark, fathomless, which makes it dangerous. Everything about you is dangerous. Then why are you still touching me? Good question. She should pull away, apologize, leave, but standing there, close to him, feeling the barely controlled violence humming beneath his skin, it was intoxicating. Because you looked at me today and saw a person, she said. Not a victim, not a possession. Just a person who could make choices. No one's looked at me like that in years. I'm not kind, Alicia. I'm not going to save you or heal you or give you whatever fantasy you're building in your head. I know. Then what do you want from me? She didn't have an answer. So she did the only thing that made sense in that moment. She kissed him. This kiss was nothing like the first. That had been desperation. This was deliberate. She felt him go rigid with surprise, felt the war happening inside him between control and something darker. Then he kissed her back. It was devastating. He kissed like a man who'd forgotten how, all teeth and intensity and barely restrained violence. His hand came up to her throat, not squeezing, just holding, possessing. When he pulled away, they were both breathing hard. That was a mistake, he said. Probably. You should leave. I should. Neither of them moved. The door burst open. Jiho stood in the doorway, and his expression when he saw them, Alicia standing behind Minho's chair, both of them flushed, the air crackling with tension, was pure devastation. He swallowed hard. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just got back and wanted to tell you both that Marcus has left Seoul. David's on a plane to Los Angeles. It's handled. Good, Minho said, his voice perfectly controlled again. Anything else? No, nothing else. Jiho's eyes were locked on Alicia. Good night. He left. Before either of them could respond, Alicia stepped back from Minho. I should go talk to him. Why? Because he looked hurt. Jiho feels things strongly. He'll recover. But there was something in Minho's expression. Guilt, maybe. Or the closest thing he could manage to it. Go. Before I do something else, I'll regret. She left, but the taste of him lingered on her lips. She'd meant to escape one obsession. Instead, she'd found another. And this one might actually kill her. Alicia found Jiho in the garden, sitting by the koi pond with a bottle of expensive whiskey. Want company? She asked quietly. Not particularly, but you're going to give it to me anyway, aren't you? She sat beside him. He didn't look at her, just stared at the fish swimming in circles, trapped in their beautiful prison. I'm sorry, she said. For what? You didn't do anything wrong. He took a drink straight from the bottle. You're allowed to kiss whoever you want. Jiho, I saw the way you looked at him that first night. I knew then, but I told myself, maybe if I was patient, if I was kind, if I showed you what it could be like with someone who actually knows how to care. He laughed bitterly. Stupid, right? Thinking I could compete with my brother. It's not a competition, isn't it? It's always been a competition. He's brilliant, ruthless, powerful. I'm just nice, useful. The acceptable face of a criminal empire. Jiho finally looked at her. Do you even know what you're doing? Getting involved with him? No, she admitted. I don't. He's going to hurt you. Not because he wants to, but because he doesn't know how not to. He's spent 10 years building walls, and you think one kiss is going to bring them down? I don't think anything. I'm not trying to change him or save him or whatever you think I'm doing. Alicia wrapped her arms around herself. When I'm near him, I feel something. After years of feeling nothing but fear and shame, just feeling anything is addictive. That's not love. That's trauma bonding. I know. She did know. Intellectually, she understood exactly what was happening. She was attaching to the person, providing protection, confusing intensity for connection. But knowing and stopping were different things. But I can't seem to stop it. Jiho stood, swaying slightly. I'm going to tell you something my brother would never say. You deserve better than both of us. Better than him because he's broken. Better than me because I'm falling in love with you. And loving someone who loves someone else is its own kind of hell. He handed her the bottle. Find someone who sees you and chooses you without all this complicated bullshit. He walked away before she could respond and disappearing into the house. Alicia sat alone with the whiskey and the koi, wondering how she'd managed to hurt the one person who'd only ever been kind to her. Wait, don't you dare leave yet. You just witnessed Alicia break the heart of the only good man in this story to chase a man who doesn't even know how to feel. And let's not forget Jisoo. 5 years of loyalty, killing for him, saving his life, and Minho still doesn't see her. Now, here comes Alicia with one kiss, and suddenly he's feeling things? The jealousy is real, and it's about to get deadly. But here's what I need from you right now. Smash that like button if you think Alicia's making a huge mistake. Drop a comment telling me, are you Team Jiho, the man who actually loves her, Team Minho, the broken serpent, or Team Jisoo? Because honestly, she deserves better. Subscribe to Soul Afro Stories because part 2, Chile. We're about to see Minho finally admitting he feels something. Maybe Jiho's heart getting shattered into a million pieces, Jisoo's jealousy turning into something dangerous, the Jade clan coming for blood, and Alicia making the kind of choices that'll have your group chat on fire real talk. Have you ever chosen the toxic one because they made you feel alive even though you had a good person right there? Drop your story below. No judgment. We've all been Alicia. Part 2 drops very soon, and I promise you're not ready for what happens when Minho's walls start cracking. Jisoo's jealousy explodes, and Alicia realizes she might be in too deep. Don't forget to turn on notifications, because when I say this story gets darker, I mean betrayals, bloodshed, and broken hearts. And not everyone's making it out alive. See you in part 2. If your heart can handle it. So who's ready for part 2? And where are you watching from?